like that stuff as a brewer, yes, that's very interesting to me, to know where they're saving space in the fermenters and things like that. It makes not one little bit of difference to the drinker. Hi guys, it's Jim here from Dr. Tankenstein with another episode of Beers of the British Isles. In this video, we're going all the way back up to Hebden Bridge to visit our friend's Vocation as we drink Love and Hate. Vocation, I've covered them at length on this channel, one of my under the radar favourites, just slowly really crept in there, and just an excellent brewery. For their story, for more about them and what they do, where they are, rumours about Hebden Bridge, go check out any one of those other videos with Vocation on it to find out more about them. This video is all about Love and Hate. And this is a bit of a Vocation classic. It follows the standard format, you know, it's got the great Vocation marketing, very noticeable, you know, the black painted on can. This is the big orange one. The black painted on can, you know, it has the classic format, name format, X plus Y equals beer name, Love and Hate. So it's all looking good. This beer, I've ignored this beer for a very long time, not intentionally. Basically, just through being ignorant. Obviously, all the Vocation beers look very similar. They have this kind of same branding. I assumed that this was just a bigger, more expensive can of one that I could get in a 4-pack or a smaller version of. So I just never bothered with it. I never bought it until this beer came on my radar when I joined a Facebook group. For drinkers who exclusively post about drinking beers they find in supermarkets. Obviously, that group appealed to me. Now, last year at some point, I think around Christmas, they had this kind of World Cup thing, or you know, like a tournament style thing where, you know, this beer versus this beer, vote for your favourite, that guy progresses to the next round, and then this one versus that one, that beer progresses, and so on. Love and Hate, Vocation's very own Love and Hate, the big orange one, won the whole thing. Beating out beers such as Sweet Temptation and Roaster Coaster. You know, both obviously very similar to this New England IPA. So, I mean, you know, you can probably see why it got so far so quickly. But nevertheless, it won. It won the whole thing, thus coming on my radar and me forcing a video. I had to make a video about it. So this beer, like I've already said, is a New England IPA. It's 7.2%. It has some great, what I would unfortunately call retro hops in it. You know, Galaxy, Citra, you know, hops that are tasty as anything, but are kind of falling out of favour a little bit. It has a classic malt bill. It's boozy, it's hazy, it's trendy. Let's just dig in there and see what we think of it, eh? Okay, we're in the glass. We're all poured in, and it looks great. It looks way hazier than I thought it was going to. Not that that should make a difference as yet. So this beer is like I say, it's a New England IPA, 7.2% New England IPA. I do have to point out though that it's 3 years old now. This beer, this recipe is 3 years old. So I guess 2018 it was invented. Now back then, I don't really think that breweries really understood what British breweries, I don't think they really got what the New England IPA is. Disagree with me if you like it, that's absolutely fine, but I feel like back then they were making hazy IPAs rather than New England IPAs. You know, they were a bit harsher, a bit more bitter, a bit more of what we were accustomed to, but just with the haze. Whereas nowadays they're much juicier. You know, the the bitterness levels are much lower. The fruit is much more forward. So I'm kind of interested here. This is almost like a little time capsule to see what beers were like back then, if that makes sense. So anyway, I've already mentioned the haze. The head was good when I poured it, so I'm gonna same old glasses. I don't change those out. But it looks great. It looks very juicy. So maybe this was way ahead of its time in little old Hebden Bridge there. Ah, the fragrance does take me back. It smells dank. Remember, we used to all be drinking dank beers. We looked for those. It's so good. It's got a touch of spice on it. So there's a peppery edge, but really what you've got in there, what you really have in there is kind of like a pineapple orange combination, I feel. So pineapple is kind of the sharpness to it. There's also a real kind of just subtle sweetness in the aroma, and I kind of smell that as orangey. Yeah, I mean that does take me back. And like I say, yes, this is hazy. Yes, it's an IPA, but I would argue that it's just far too bitter to be a New England IPA, but that's okay, because back then what we were drinking as New England IPAs were quite bitter, and I'm not in any way saying that I don't enjoy it, but it has a real nice bitterness that just takes over initially, and then you get that nice sweet maltiness following it up. The hop flavors in this are, like I said, very resinous. So that's kind of like, you know, like I said, it's got Citra in it. It's got Galaxy in there, I believe. So those hops, heavily dry hopped at the start of fermentation, really leave you with a sort of a real heavy, waxy, tropical flavor that just really sits in your mouth, and that's what we've got. All in all, this is, like I say, it's a bit of a time capsule, but it's also a really very good beer. Okay then, let's sum this one up. Let's put it to bed. Let's find out whether I love or hate. Love and hate. Love and hate. First off, you can't not mention the appearance. The appearance is perfect. It's beautifully lightly coloured, and the haze is super thick. It's what I would be very impressed if I made a beer that was this hazy, that stuck around. Other similar beers, especially around the time, it was sort of like you had to find your haze at the bottom of the can. You know, you had to give your can a little swirl and find the haze. And you know, as a chemist, I still don't really 100% understand the hop contribution to the haze, but it's definitely there, and this is done very well. The aroma, I mean, the whole thing is just a hop bomb. Like I say, this is what New England IPAs were back in the day. So yes, it's juicy. Yes, it's citrusy, tropical. You know, I already mentioned that the pineapple and the orange. Now that it's kind of warming up a little bit, I'm starting to get sort of mango in there as well. But it's also got quite a real nice rounded bitterness to it, which, like I say, if you're going to be picky, shouldn't really be there in a New England IPA, but that's okay, because I guess we didn't really know back then that wasn't there. So this is kind of like the English New England IPA, and I really enjoy it. And you know, it's dank, it's resinous, it's great. In fact, the only thing I don't like about this beer is the marketing associated with it. And obviously that just has no bearing on the beer at all, but the marketing on this on the website is so cheesy. They kind of set it all up, and you know, the traditionalists like clear beer, they like it to certain IBUs and stuff like that, and then they pull the old switcheroo and say those people will hate this beer because we're cool and we've done all. It's just, I don't know, it just smacks of cheese. And they also go into detail about it's got Citra BBC, and it's got Citra Cryo hops, and it's got jumbo oats. Like that stuff, as a brewer, yes, that's very interesting to me, to know where they're saving space in their fermenters and things like that. It makes not one little bit of difference to the drinker. So I just kind of wish that breweries would just sort of leave that stuff out. I guess if you're a beer nerd, you might like to compare the flavors, but the flavors are supposed to be exactly the same. So I don't know, that's just my bugbear. Back to the beer. If I were to rate this beer, this love and hate, this hazy New England IPA tropical bomb, if I were to rate it on a scale of 0 to 10, you know what, I agree with the Facebook guys. I'm giving this beer a 9. It's sharp, it's juicy, it's bitter, it's hazy, it's dank, it's resinous, it smells great, it looks great, it tastes great, it feels great in your mouth. This beer gets a 9 from me. Be interested to hear what you guys think of it. So do head down to Tesco, grab yourself a £3 can of Love and Hate, the big orange one. Don't be confused with the small orange one, whose name I don't know. Grab yourself one of them, let me know what you think. And maybe head down to your bottle shop and grab yourself a more recent example of a New England IPA and compare the two, because maybe I'm crazy on this one, but things have definitely changed in the British New England IPA scene. For better or worse, it's just changed, you know, and we don't know. So as you sip on your love and hate, do yourself a favor, put on Jamiroquai's Don't Give Hate a Chance, a song that has kind of a place in my heart as another story for another day, but I once found myself playing bass guitar on that song on someone's music exam with no music or even knowing how the song went. So to that person, I apologize. And to you fine people, I bid you farewell. So until next time guys, cheers.